Yeah. So those are some of the nuances, but yeah, then it went from there. And again, if you kind of go back in time and think about the timing of it, 2008, everything melted down, and just the great financial crisis. And so by 2009, 2010, through till about 2012, there was a real low dip in the whole economy worldwide, really. Um, what that meant in the United States was there were thousands and thousands of people that had bought properties with mortgages that they really shouldn't have been issued in the first place, that they didn't qualify for back in 2006, 2005. Uh, it was a bad situation. They should not have gotten those mortgages in the first place.
Isn't
So it
there
was
a
really not good.
movie about that? I think there's a
There
Hollywood
is.
movie where they like I think they knew, like they had some insider information and they exploited the hell out of it. Isn't that true?
Yeah, Big Short.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah,
I didn't understand shit. I saw it as a kid, so
yeah,
but it was like, God, those guys are smart. Yeah, but so
yeah.
did they any of them went to jail? Was that illegal?
Um, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Some of the bigger bankers, I think that they all got off. I could be wrong. There could have been some people that served some jail time, but they should have gone to jail if they didn't.
All right, so mortgages were issued that should never ever had been issued, and
Yeah.
okay, and they made the movie Big Short.
They made the movie The Big Short. And then, so what happened is in kind of the early 2010s, 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-ish, there were thousands and thousands of defaulted mortgages. So mortgages where people were not making any payment at all.
Wow.
Um, so when I first heard about that, I'm like, that sounds really risky. Why would I buy a mortgage that nobody's paying on? Like that seems dumb. And then I tried it. I'm like, we'll give it a shot. So my first non-performing note purchase was 2010, and it was a package of 3 different mortgages on 3 different properties. And the seller, he's become a really good friend. He had these, and I mean, the pricing back then was ridiculous. I got 3 different mortgages for a total combined price of $10,000. So I'm like, for $10,000, I'm willing to give this a shot. I just want to see what happens. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, $10,000 isn't the end of the world. It's a lot of money, but it's not the end of the world. So what happened is all 3 of the properties were in Columbus, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been around with the project we had going on. I'd been around Columbus a bunch, so I was somewhat familiar with the city and got to know it a little bit, and got to know where these 3 different properties were. And what I learned was, in each case, they were vacant, so nobody was living in the house. And the reason was, for all 3, is the buyers, the people that own the houses, had bought them as rental properties. Like back in 2005, they were given a mortgage basically for like no money down, so that they could rent that property out, and the rental income would cover the cost of the mortgage and then some. So it's exactly what you're talking about. Like, sit back, relax. Here we go. This is awesome. And then they were going to make some money off of that, and the depreciation of the house and all these things that they had imagined, all of a sudden were not true. House values dropped dramatically, and now all of a sudden they owed more on their mortgage than the property was worth. So, like, for example, I think on the one, they owed something like $75,000. The house was maybe worth 30. So it was, it makes no sense in that case to pay on a mortgage for $75,000 when the house is only worth 30,000.
So you stopped
And
paying? That's what they
they
did?
stopped paying.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was true all over the US, where people saw that and they're like, well, it doesn't make sense. Why would I pay? The problem is now these banks are stuck with these mortgages that they can't collect on. Nobody's making payments.
Let me stop you for a second, Nathan.
Sure.
I have one question. So can they change the owner, the bank? Can they change the price of the house after the buyer start paying the mortgage? Like, let's say I want to buy a house I want to buy a house. It's 30K. I'll say I talk to the bank or I talk to the owner, start paying. Okay, 30K. That's the mortgage. That's the
Yeah.
payment plan. And down the line, the total amount of the house, the value of the house changes. Is that the case? That's what happened? Is that legal? Is that possible?
Oh, very possible. So
What?
the mortgage note is separate from the housing market.
Oh, okay.
So the whatever terms they agreed to when they first signed that mortgage, that stays the same. But the price of the house could go like this. It's going up and it's going down. Who knows? And in this case, it went down a lot. And so now the bank is in this situation where they're like, well, now what do we do? So their solution was just sell the mortgage. So they sell the mortgage to somebody like me at a huge discount because to them it's worth zero. So
Hmm.
they would rather take $3,000 in this case than zero because 3,000 is more than zero.
Hmm.
And then that's done. Then they're out of it and they don't have any more responsibility there. Then it's up to me to see what I can do to make it right. So that happened a lot, a lot. And we saw thousands and thousands of those types of mortgages coming through in that time frame.
Wow.
And that was my first one. So I bought those three. Uh, Two of the people that owned the houses still lived in Columbus. So I went and knocked on the doors and I said, so here I am. I own the mortgage. You owe me $75,000. I'm actually not here to collect $75,000. If you will just give me the house, I'll make the mortgage go away. As the lender, I can do that. I can just say it's canceled. It no longer exists. You're free from that mortgage. You're also free from the house, the headache of it. You don't have anything to do. And the one was like a young lady. She was like maybe 25 and she'd bought this and with dreams of, getting into the real estate game and all this stuff. And it went horribly wrong. And so she was incredibly grateful. She was like, she actually started crying and she's like, are you serious? Really? You'll do that? You can just make it go away? And up to that point, it had not actually occurred to me that I was solving a problem for somebody. To me, it was a fast, easy way of getting a property. It was completely selfish. And then when I saw that, that changed everything. I'm like, wait a second, this is a huge help for this person who she's been losing sleep over this. Like this is something that has been weighing heavy on her mind, and now she doesn't have to deal with it anymore. So I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is so cool. I didn't think I was going to be helping people. This is great. So that was that one. And then the other one was a retired veteran. And it was the same thing. He had bought this house. He was going to rent it out. It was going to be retirement income. And so when I approached him with the same deal, he didn't cry, but he's like, where do I sign? And he was ready to just sign the paperwork and say, yeah, it's yours, done. I don't want anything else to do with this.
Now, come on,
I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
that sounds too good to be true. That sounds weird.
Ah, I know. It was a surprise to me at how well it worked, to be honest. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that kind of reaction. I had taken a friend with me who's much bigger than me, and just in case, and it worked incredibly well. I could not believe it. So now I'm the owner of the property. The mortgage no longer exists. I'm the new owner of the mortgage, and I say, nah. So we wrote it off and said, no, that's no longer relevant. Now I own a property. In those first two, we sold them for, I think one we sold for like 20,000, the other for 25,000. So
But
already I've more than made my money back.
but
Very happy.
not those ones with the tenants inside, right?
They were vacant.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
vacant. Okay.
they were already empty. In both cases, actually, we needed to do some repairs. I think they had like some broken windows and things that we had to fix. Nothing too major, but some some things we had to fix up and then sell. But like I say, we more than made our money back on that $10,000 experiment. So I'm like, man, this is amazing. This is so cool. And then it just kind of ballooned from there. What I discovered was on a vacant property, that was very typical. I would approach if I could find them. Oftentimes the borrowers had left and they're